Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our live chat today with New York Times and USA Today bestselling author B.J. Daniels. Her latest release, Mercy, also known as the book that tried to kill her, but we'll get to that later, hit bookstore shelves this week to rave reviews. Thanks for joining us today, B.J.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
We wanted to remind our viewers to not forget to stop by BookTrib after the chat to enter to win a copy of Mercy. So before we start the questions and answers, can you tell us a little bit about your new release, Mercy?
Well, I think it took me 20 years to write this book. I think I've just been building up to it. I've always
Hmm.
wanted to write something that's really deep and scary and something that really is a page turner.
Yep.
And so far the reviews have said
Hmm.
that that's what it is. Yeah. So it's very exciting for me. It's
Excellent. Yeah,
it's
I checked out. Amazon had some great reviews. Absolutely.
well it's it's hard to explain. It's definitely a mystery. Yes.
Hmm.
And I all through, I didn't want you to know who the bad guys were, but it's really hard to hide that,
Yeah.
especially when you're in those people's, in their, yeah, their viewpoints. So yeah, but it was fun to write, but it did put me in the hospital with my very first migraine
Oh
at 3
no.
a.m. and 20 below zero. So, so it's a book to remember.
Yeah. A real labor of love.
I guess.
Yeah. So we have a great question that kind of talks about just the process. It says, Carter says, you've mentioned in other interviews that when writing Mercy, it proved to be a bit difficult, which you just talked a little bit about. And they just want to know what made it so hard to write and how did you get past that?
You know, it's excuse me. It's odd how that works. You you start a book. I start a book. I write by the seat of my pants, and
Hmm.
so I don't really know where it's going. And when I met the main characters, I didn't want anybody to be the bad guy. But
Hmm.
the more I learned about them, I realized that some of them should be locked up. They shouldn't be, no, they shouldn't be on the streets. No, definitely not. No. So, but you just have to keep writing every day. And it's really hard. There are days you just don't want to do it. And when you're a seat of the pants writer, you tend
Hmm.
to write yourself into a corner and then you've got to get out. And sometimes yeah, it takes a few days. Yeah, to figure out where you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Paula wants to know, what about Mercy intrigued and scared you?
Oh, the characters. You know, I've always wondered what makes a serial killer, and
Hmm.
I did a lot of research, and
Neat.
just the research scared me because
Hmm.
it seems like if you have a really bad mother, there's a good chance of you becoming a serial killer. Yeah. In fact, I'm surprised there aren't more. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Which serial killer do you think was the most interesting that you kind of researched? Was there anyone that stood out?
Oh, John Wayne Gacy. He's a great one,
Yeah.
the clown. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think, well, they can live amongst us. And I think they can act
That's.
fairly normal. I think a lot of them are trying to overcome their past,
Hmm.
but yeah, they don't succeed. That's why
No.
they end up killing again. But
Right.
yeah, I was amazed. When you read all the stuff about them, because they all fit a certain profile. And I have a
Yeah.
profiler in my book. Yeah.
Mm. We have a couple questions about just new ideas. Amy says, with all the published books and short stories that you have under your belt, where do you come up with fresh new ideas to keep readers hooked and you still wanting to write?
Oh, there's just so many ideas out there. It's
Hmm.
like you don't have enough time to write all the books. No.
Yeah.
Um, I love writing. And what I try to do with every new book is surprise my readers because
Hmm.
I have readers from my very first book. And I think
Yeah.
I'm up to number 70 now, 72, somewhere in
Oh,
there.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you really have to think outside the box. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you get any ideas from things you're reading? Do you Google things? Do you think it's from films that you see or just something that pops in your head?
I, well, see, that's really scary when I tell you. It pops into my head. Yeah. I don't know where it comes from. Maybe outer space.
That's amazing, though. That's amazing.
I try to write what scares me and I try to
Hmm.
amuse myself. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. It's fantastic.
It's odd.
Um, yeah.
It scares the people
Uh,
you live with.
right? What did your family think about it all?
Oh, gee. They all think I'm nuts. Yeah. And I think they're a little scared. My husband often says he's scared. He should be.
That's too funny. It's like, why do you keep reading all that stuff about serial killers?
He's a
Carter
little
has an
curious.
interesting question. Yeah. Carter wants to know about your past when you worked for a newspaper. He says, had you ever interviewed someone who committed crimes like the ones that you wrote about?
I interviewed Tim Cahill. He
Hmm.
wrote Buried Dreams about John Wayne Gacy. And he said that for months his wife didn't want him to come home because he would bring it home with him. He
Oh,
said that it
wow.
changed his life. Yeah, that
Oh, wow.
it terrified him. It gave him nightmares. Yeah, because
Hmm.
they seem so normal, but
Mm-hmm.
of course we know
Yep. We
normal's not
figure
it.
it out.
Yep.
Exactly. Patsy wants to know about escape fiction. That's what you like to write. She said, how did you stumble upon that area and what drew you to that?
Money. I needed I needed to make a living.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends who are literary writers. They're beautiful writers, and I love them. But I needed to make a little bit more money.
Yeah.
And
That
escape
is
fiction,
a great answer.
well, and there's a real need for it. I've had people
Yeah.
write me who said they're in a really bad place in their life and they picked up
Hmm.
one of my books and they escaped for a few hours and they were so happy. So, I think there is definitely a place for it. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm. Absolutely.
It's not all
Lexi.
mercenary.
Yeah, right. Lexi has a question about some must reads for your fall list. What books are on your to reads for the fall? Anything?
I just picked I just picked up a CJ Box book, Highway, and I just picked up Sandra Brown because next week
Ah.
I'm headed for the hills. No phone, no internet. Not that I wouldn't love it, but there's none up there.
Mhm.
So we're going to camp out for a week, and it's in a place where there's lots of grizzly bears. So
Oh.
I might be back. Yes,
Do you do that every year?
we do. We do. And it's a wonderful break. I end up writing some, but reading a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. It's fun to take a break and read somebody else. Yep,
Yeah, it's an important part of the whole writing process too.
it is.
Yeah. Um, Heather wants to know, was your character Callie Westfield based off anyone in your life or someone you met?
No, I hope not.
Yeah, right.
Uh, that, I don't know where the characters come from, but I
Hmm.
think it's like a conglomerate of people that you've known and experiences you've had,
Oh
and
yeah.
just that weird stuff in your head. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
pretty much.
Uh, it makes sense. Just pops out of nowhere. Um, Oh, Paula wants to know about Rourke. So Rourke is the other character. She says many people love someone they shouldn't, but in this story it's a bit of an extreme. Can you talk about Rourke and the struggle that he has, his internal
You know,
struggles?
I guess I do believe in love at first sight. I think sometimes you're just sucked in, and you, even though, I mean, I know people who married the wrong person and they saw it
Mhm.
long before, oh, they got married.
Mhm.
And you could warn them, wouldn't make any difference. They'd
Yeah.
still, they'd still goof
Mhm.
up and, and marry him. Yeah. So I
Mhm.
think, yeah, I don't, yeah, I think there is love at first sight. And I realize falling in love with a serial killer is a little hard to believe, but, but somebody did. A lot of them are married. Yeah.
Yeah. Ted Bundy looked like a normal dude.
And don't you wonder though about the people who are married to him if they don't suspect just something's wrong?
Mhm.
My husband suspects something's wrong with me, so come on. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, they must have had some sort of an inkling. There's something in there going
Something,
on.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Patsy says, you write a lot about small towns, and is there a reason behind this? And would you ever write about a busy metropolis?
Oh.
Interesting.
Well, it's because I've always lived in a small town. I, I we lived, yes, always have. Yes. Okay, am I still there?
Hmm. Yep.
Can you hear me?
You went away for
Oh,
a minute,
okay.
but now I can hear you.
I've always
Yep.
lived in a small town. Okay. I grew up in, well, we moved to Montana when I was
Hmm.
5, and mostly I haven't even lived in a small town. We usually lived outside of
Hmm.
town. But now, I live in a very small town. There's no overnight mail.
Oh, wow.
There's no stoplight. The closest Target is 3 hours away.
Wow.
So I write about what I
Hmm.
know. And I think that's a smart thing to do. I do not know the big
Yeah.
city.
It wouldn't be authentic.
So I'd hate to write about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it wouldn't. No.
Nope. Um, so off of that question, Patsy wants to know, how do you think living in Montana has shaped you as a person and as a writer?
Well, I write about what I know, and I know Montana, and I've lived in some isolated
Hmm.
places. And there's places in Montana where there is no cell phone coverage. A lot of
Yeah.
places like that, and like up in the mountains and things. So I like to write about a place that I love. You know, there's no
Hmm.
place like Montana, and Montana is like a character in my books. We have such
Hmm.
extreme weather and such isolated places that it's perfect for a lot of
Yeah.
the settings for books.
Is Beartooth a real town or is that fictional?
There should have been a town there. There might even have been a town there in the old days. Big
Mm.
Timber is a real town. It's close by, but the crazy mountains are
Ah,
very real.
awesome. That's the best part. The mountains of Montana. Um,
A little
right?
history. Yeah.
Carter wants to know about your writing process. He says, do you write and see where the story takes you, or do you have to have an outline and a plan before going into the writing of the book?
Wait, Parker, I would love a plan.
Yeah.
I really would. Unfortunately, I don't write that way. A plan would be ideal, but I just
Hmm.
I start writing, and the characters seem to know more about the
Yeah.
story than I do, and I trust them. There was a time I didn't trust the characters, but I do now
Right.
after this many books. And eventually, they will tell me their stories, and their stories are so much more fascinating than
Yeah.
anything I could have thought of.
Excellent.
It's a crazy way to write because
Yeah.
there is no plan. Yes. By the end, you hope there's a plan.
Let's see what else we have. Oh, okay. Amy, have you ever rock climbed? That's a good random one.
I
Right.
haven't. I sailboard, snowboard. We live in a place where we have huge rocks that we climbed, but not yeah like the face of a rock. My brother and I grew up. The first 11 years, we had a cabin up the
Mm-hmm.
Gallatin Canyon, where another one of my series is set, and we
Oh,
ran all
awesome.
over. Yeah, it's amazing. Back in those days, parents didn't worry about you
Yeah,
as much, apparently.
it's true. My mother says, when I was a kid, I would go off on my bike and I'd be gone all day, and my parents would just think it was normal. And now it's like, where are you? They're calling you on your cell phone. It's totally different. Totally different.
Times have
Yeah,
definitely changed. Yeah, my brother and I, because we had lakes and rivers and we had
yeah,
bear and moose and deer and all of that. And, you'd wander
yeah,
back when you got hungry.
exactly. Joanne wants to know about the locations in the book. So she says, what's the significance behind the dual locations in Mercy?
Um, you need, even though it's, well, for starters, Beartooth
Hmm.
is really small. There's a cafe, a post office, and a
Yeah,
bar, basically. So you need a town that's a little closer that you can go in, where the sheriff
right.
is and things like that. So Big Timber is real, and yeah, I think it is the county
Hmm.
seat too. So that is where the sheriff would be located. But yeah, I make up so much. I hope the sheriff doesn't put me there, because the sheriff is
Yeah,
one of
me
my
too.
favorite characters. He's older and he gets his own love story. So yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, he's great.
Someone wants to know about the book cover, which I loved this one and I loved Atonement, and they're totally different color schemes. Atonement was that serene blue, and now we have
Get it on.
this like warm color. So Ashley wants to know, what does Mercy's cover say about the book, and what can the readers expect kind of from this book, the cover, before even diving into it?
Well, we don't get a lot of input on the covers, but I love this one because it is nice and warm. I loved Atonement too
Yeah,
because it was so
it was
bright.
beautiful.
But this one, you can kind of see, that it's a fairly isolated place.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's hard to make the promise of what the book's going to be about on the
exactly.
cover. So you kind of have to, even the back cover copy, you got to read the book sometimes to
Oh
know
yeah.
really what you're getting into because this book it's pretty dark and it's
Yeah.
definitely a mystery.
Um,
Yeah.
Caitlin wants to know, what is your favorite line from Mercy? Do you know?
My
Yeah.
favorite line. Oh my gosh, let me see.
Like, I can't remember.
I actually don't have a favorite line unless it's the very, excuse me, at the end of the prologue where someone is whispering and begging
Mm,
for mercy. That was before the
yeah.
knife part.
Your first chapter, like, grabbed me, like, whoa, it was excellent. Excellent setting up of the whole,
Thank
yeah.
you, thank you. Um, it's my first book to be on audio, and I listened to it last night, the first part of it, and I was like, oh, whoa, it
Oh,
sounds like
that's
a real
exciting.
book. So it was
Did
really,
you do the
yeah, it
the
was really
reading
fun.
of it, or did they have other? Yeah,
Oh no,
that would
no,
be.
no, no. The guy who does though is really good. I love his
Oh,
Rourke
excellent.
voice. Yeah, his Rourke voice. You're like, ooh yeah.
uh,
But all of the Beartooth series are going to
oh,
be
great.
recorded now, so
Awesome.
that'll
That's
be nice.
excellent news. Everybody knows first on BookTrib live chat. Excellent.
Yes, first here.
So, let's see what we have down here. Oh, Kaylin asked, do you have a spirit animal?
Spirit animal. My
There.
bear.
Oh, your
My
necklace.
it's my yes, yes. I wear it all the time.
Yeah.
It's for luck. Yes.
So what does the bear symbolize? Strength, maybe, or?
I think so. Power, yeah,
Hmm.
strength.
Samantha has an interesting question about serial killers. She says, what prompted you to want to write about murders that are a bit more random than just a personal one-on-one kind of shoot off?
I never wanted to do a serial killer book because I don't like those kind of murders. I want murders that are
Yeah,
personal because to me, it's not very interesting if somebody's just randomly going
yeah.
around killing people. But with this one, I tried to make it
Hmm.
very personal, that the reason behind it and how
Hmm.
everyone is involved in this, how it ties together. So hopefully I
Yeah.
succeeded in doing that.
And I think with the research, it brings in that whole psychological edge, so it gets very interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that because yeah, there has to be a reason behind it. You don't the whole characters that are
Hmm.
just crazy
Mm-mm.
are not interesting. I like characters that are really, there's some real depth there to why they became the
Exactly.
person they are. Like all of us, how we got where
Yeah.
we are now.
Um, Caitlin has a totally different sort of question. She wants to know what shows you're watching, if any, on the television. Shows or films.
I used This will surprise her, but I used to
I
love
love that
6 Feet
show.
Under, um,
Hmm.
and Justified. Let's see, but I watch things like Mistresses. Let's see,
I
what else am I
just found out
watching?
that an old neighbor of mine is on the show Mistresses. Interesting. Yes.
Really? Oh,
I
fun! You'll
will,
have to
I
let me know
will.
which one.
Yep, I just found that out.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
it's a great show. I mean, but there's a lot of
Hmm.
intriguing stuff going on. So, but I love
Hmm.
Motive. The new show Motive is quite
Excellent.
fun. Yeah, because they give you the motive and the victim, and then you try to have to figure out how it goes together. Which that's right up my alley. And I also play words with my
Yeah,
friends a lot. The whole
that's a
word
fun
game,
one. I love that.
you know.
Lexi has a question about
Yeah.
some of your other crafting. She says, "You quilt, me too. But how do you think the creative process of quilting and that of writing are similar or different?"
I think quilting is a lot
Hmm.
like writing in that you take the pieces and you put them together. And I this probably won't surprise you either, but some of my quilts are put
Hmm.
together in unique ways with unique colors that everyone says they can spot one of my quilts a
Awesome.
mile off. So, but but it's the freedom of
Yeah.
creative expression. Same
Hmm.
thing. And you don't have to follow the pattern. It's a good
Yeah.
idea though. I've learned the hard way.
Absolutely. It's like a free fall sort of. You're a pantser writer, right? You said that in your last live chat, so
I
yeah.
am a pantser. Ugh. I wish I wasn't some days, but yeah, how we are.
Exactly. Um, let's see. Oh, Joanne says, you mentioned that you would like Amy Smart to play Callie if Mercy were made into a movie. I think that's a great pick, actually. She said, why did you pick her for the role, and who else would you want to play the other characters?
You know, I just tried to look at them and see if they kind of fit what I thought they
Yeah.
would look like, um, more
Mm-hmm.
than their character. Yeah, I just thought because obviously they'd be playing that character. Yeah, I went mostly just by
Yeah.
their looks. Yeah, I thought she looked like the Callie I had in mind.
Mm-hmm. Um, Samantha says, did you have a favorite spoiler-free part in the book to write? Something that doesn't spoil it.
Oh, let me think for a minute. I loved. There's an old building in the book that's actually like an
Ah.
old orphanage, but it was for kids
Mm-hmm.
that are troubled or in those days pregnant, and they would just drop them off there. And I love
Mm-hmm.
creepy old buildings, and I think a lot of the evil
Mm-hmm.
remains in the building. It doesn't really go away, so you can kind of feel it when you go back there.
That's awesome.
So that part was fun to write.
Excellent. Um, so we have from Ashley three. What are three random facts about you? That can be a tough one.
Oh, let's see. Um, I get through life by laughing most things off, most things. I have a wonderful husband, and we have three
Oh,
dogs. They're
oh,
bird
cool.
dogs, Spot, Jim, and Ace. Yes, and I love to
Excellent.
fish.
Me too. Deep sea fishing or just lake fishing?
Not so
You
much
go
in
you go to
Montana.
Florida though. You were in Florida on our last chat.
I do. I do. Um, Walleye and northern pike, crappie, bass. Oh, love to
Cool.
bass fish. Yep.
Can you tell us just like your typical day in Montana? Like what you do and your typical day of writing?
Oh. Well, that's about, it's boring. It's pretty boring. I get up in the morning,
Hmm.
I have breakfast, I go to my office. This is my office back
Lovely.
there, and I write until lunch. Go home and have lunch with my husband. Come back and write until I get my 10
Hey,
pages done every day. And sometimes that can be done in 2 hours, and
yeah.
sometimes it takes most of the day. And then I
Yeah.
go home and have dinner. See, it's fascinating. I kill people in between.
Yep.
So
And you hide it really well.
yeah,
Very good at
yeah,
covering your tracks.
I do. I understand serial killers.
Eliza wants
I seem fairly normal, right?
um Eliza wants to know, do you have a favorite author and why do you like them so much? Do you think you put any of their influence into
Oh,
what you're doing?
but that's tough. It's really
Yeah,
tough.
I have a lot.
Favorite writer. Oh, I read so many different books. Yeah, and there's so many of them that I just love. I have some must-buys. I
Hmm.
love Lisa Gardner and Sandra Brown. Great. They tell great stories. Plus, there's always some suspense,
Yeah.
which I love.
Hmm.
Harlan Coben. Yeah,
Yeah.
T. Jefferson Parker. Boy, there's just so many.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Um, Eliza says, do you like fairy tales and do you have a favorite one? Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cinderella. Everyone wants to believe that, you'll
Hmm.
get the prince. We
Right?
should all get our prince kind of thing. Yeah. Yes. And I do like fairy tales because they were like the
Yeah.
original plots. Yeah.
Original soap operas almost at times.
I like soap operas too.
Yeah.
Soap operas are great because they're that continuing,
Hmm.
you know,
Absolutely.
they need to kill
Yeah.
off more
Or bring
people though.
in,
Yeah.
which
I'm
ones do
bummed
you
about that.
watch? Mm.
Bold and Beautiful.
Yeah, they kill people off, or some of them they bring in vampires. Just, it gets crazy.
Yeah, there was. I think it was General Hospital used to
Hmm.
have when she had to be exercised because her head went around in a circle or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, it's been a while since they've done
They
those. They haven't had an
they
exorcism
killed
on
off
very
someone in
long time.
General Hospital and brought back like the same character as someone completely different, but it was the same girl. I was like, it just doesn't work for me. But
Uh,
I
that
know.
happens a lot, and yeah, you have to accept that this is the
Exactly.
new. Yeah, there's a new guy on
Oh
Bold
yeah.
and Beautiful. Yeah,
I know it's hard to get over the new people.
yeah. Ridge came back very different
Yeah, it happens a lot.
after his death. Oh, they
Yeah,
bring back dead characters too,
that
which
is
I
cool.
am
It is
for that.
cool. I do like that part of it.
Yeah.
Samantha says, what advice would you give someone who had a good idea for a book but wasn't sure where to start in the writing process?
Best thing you can do is sit
Mm-hmm.
down and write. It's
Mm-hmm.
really hard because you think, well, I don't want to screw it up
Yeah.
and I don't know where I'm going. But the only way this book is ever going to get written is if you sit down and write. And some of the stuff that you write is just stuff you need to know that won't even go in the book. But there's a lot of sitting
Yeah.
on your butt writing. Yeah,
It's all about discipline.
that's
It
it.
really is.
It is
Yep.
about discipline. Even on those days you don't want to do it. And make
Mm-hmm.
time to write. Your family won't take you seriously unless you demand that
Exactly.
time to write.
Heather wants to know about your next project that you're working on. She says, will your next book be about a serial killer or something completely different?
No,
Yeah.
I gotta mix it up. But it will be set in
Mhm.
yeah, Beartooth, and it's the next ones. There's six of them, and it's about the
Yeah.
Hamilton girls. They're from a rich ranching family, but there's a lot
Hmm.
going on with those girls.
So,
Yeah, and there's a reason they haven't found Billy.
oh,
Yeah,
we're excited for that one.
yeah, these.
So unfortunately, we've come to the end of our questions. I've kind of run the gamut of everything. But I really want to thank you again for coming and chatting live with us today. It was a great time. And to yeah.
Thank you. It's always fun.
And to everyone watching, please enter to win a copy of Mercy right now at BookTrib. You have a great opportunity to read a fantastic book. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. It was very nice
Bye.
being here.
Bye.
Bye.